Hi, this is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast, where CEOs, COOs, and business owners share strategies for better success. This is 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best strategies are concise business advice. And so we're going to be concise and get right with our guest today. And with question number 1, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thanks for having me on, Keith. I am Ronn Schumaker with the Thompson Group, and I hail from beautiful Parker City, Indiana, the garden spot capital of the world. We're an independent insurance agency for the Thompson Group. We represent many fine carriers. I specialize in personal insurance, high value, and farm ag. So that's what we do here in East Central Indiana.
And we won't even talk about how many years of experience, but lots of years of experience, right?
Yes, I've been with the Thompson Group for going on my 25th year. And before that, I worked at the Mahoney Group in Tucson for about 8 years with Glenn Ludwin. So.
Well, with all that experience, question number 2, what's the best thing that's been about being a business leader?
Well, I think it's the being the answer guy. And when people come to you with questions, and you are showing your non-youth, we'll say, but you're also providing education to the person and just having that experience and knowing where to go get your answer should you not know it, and knowing a person that can get that job done. So, and helping out your community by doing that in all aspects, not only business, but from your community prospect.
Well, I think that's a sign of a good leader as well, is they're not only concerned about their business, but they're looking at the larger picture of how is this impacting the community and helping the community. So I love that answer.
Thank you.
Question number 3, I hear from other leaders that their people strategy is often more of a challenge than their actual business strategy in running their business. Your thoughts?
I kind of, when we think of other people, a lot of times people label them as employees. I like to call them coworkers, because we're all in this job together, and to provide service to our customers and the products that we administer. And the next step is getting that younger person to buy into what you're providing, and having that youth and your leadership to form them into what you've become.
So training them and helping them lead them to where you're
yes,
at.
Into the business strategy that you've already developed. I think that's the key, and treating them as co-workers. I always use that word co-workers a lot.
I have several clients and people that like to use the word people, where, hey, they're not our employees, they're our people.
That's right. That's right along with it.
Yeah,
Co-workers,
same
people.
kind of idea.
We're all in this together, and we're all successful at it because of those simple strategies.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. So question number 4, what strategy would you like to share with other business leaders?
Well, I think we're all very educated on our sales technique and how to provide good service after the sale. And I've always told the youth that if you go to 5 sales seminars, that you are going to hear a lot of repetitive things about being a good salesperson. But if you just take one little hint and that's a great thought from each sales seminar, then you're going to gain, because at the end, you're going to have 5 new items in your quiver to use. And that's your continuing learning. One of our 4 cornerstones is education, and we learn every day, and that keeps us doing what we do. So that's how, and getting the youth to buy into that, to do exactly what you're doing. So,
well, I think it's really important, because so often business owners and people are trying to look for huge things that they can change to make a huge difference in their business. And a lot of times, like you said, it's subtle things. It's those little tidbits that, if done and implemented, can make a big difference. It doesn't have to be huge.
And if you're going to work every day, unless you're on vacation, but that keeps you in line with what's going on in the world, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's doing just fine. It's just maybe tweaking it to maybe adapting to your conditions, and you don't need to really tear it all the way down unless it's not a good wheel at all. So
right, and I know in talking with you, you know this, but I might add the consistency. You talked about learning those little tidbits and doing the little things, doing those on a consistent basis makes a huge difference. So.
Oh yes, just being consistent every day, and yes, you can drive to work a different day, and a good salesman always drives a different way home from an appointment. That was always one of my neat little things. When you're driving back, never drive back the same way. You've already seen what you've seen. But being consistent and doing that day after day makes you a very polished salesperson and service provider.
In fact, we were talking a little bit before off the air about, being consistent on maintenance and maintaining those things. And I think that really goes along with what we're talking about here, is not only maintaining your skills, but always kind of maintaining, if you will, the idea of improving your skills and improving where you're at, and just having that maintenance and being proactive.
We were talking about the property company that Anson and I own together, and I'm a big believer in preventive maintenance from a property standpoint, and we use those same philosophies on our risk management coverages. There's no reason to wait for something to deteriorate so bad that it's hurting the value of it. Take care of it ahead of time, and you'll never have to worry about things, and it'll improve the property overall. And that way you continue to make money off of it when it comes right down to it.
Well, it's great hearing some of your suggestions and your advice and everything. Question number 5, what other successful business owners like yourself would you like to maybe do a shout out to or acknowledge, and you think might be good on the podcast?
Well, a good friend of mine named Dan Pike, who owns Flow Solutions, we motorhome together. We've done those campfire chats, we'll say, and Dan Pike runs a business where he gets the youth involved. He goes to work every day. It's probably why we're friends. We have lots of similar things in common. And so I think Dan would be an excellent, thinks a little different out of the box. And so if I can hook you guys up, Dan Pike with Flow Solutions in Muncie, Indiana. Sells compressed air.
I like people that think out of the box. And so that's awesome. So question number 6, kind of a final fun question. Tell me about one of your favorite past bosses.
Well, I've only had a couple of them. And neither one of them are one, Glenn Luglin at the Mahoney Group, taught me, brought me out of the mailroom and told me I was in customer service and personal lines, and told me to pick up the phone and do what they say. You was in customer service. And the other boss, he's still my boss, and that's Wayne Luther Thompson. That's Andy's dad. Wayne brought me in with, obviously I had experience in sales and service, but not in the rural America. And Wayne brought me in and just taught me so many fantastic things. In fact, he's 80 some years old. He probably walks 5 or 6 miles a day. And to this day, Wayne is my boss. We all have bosses, and Wayne is my boss.
And hopefully we can all be like him when we're in our 80s, right?
Yes, that is my goal. He comes in, he opens the mail, and I started in the mail room, and hopefully my plan is to end in the mail room. So there's less mail now.
That's right. There is. That's cool. I love that story, though. Well, it has been great having you on and getting to know you a little bit more and listening to, your suggestions and your strategy and things. Before we go, can you tell people how they might be able to connect with you?
Well, I am Ronn Schumaker with the Thompson Group in beautiful Parker City, and we're at thethompsongroup.net, and my email is ronn@thethompsongroup.net. A little different on the spelling there, so please feel to reach out. One of the toughest things I ever thought was the easiest thing about my business is answer the phone. It's return people's phone calls.
Right. I think that's the case for most people. For some
reason, it's hard for people, but not for people like us.
Right.
So I appreciate you being on the show, and it's a pleasure meeting you, and I enjoy your podcast and look forward to many more.
Well, likewise, I appreciate you being on, and it's great hearing from you. And this is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast. And for more insights and to follow us, you can follow us at Weaver Business Coaching on LinkedIn. And of course, listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. And we wish you the best success.